Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this graduated wraparound bracelet. And this is what it looks like. Now I decided to make this into like flower shapes and different colours. Obviously you don't have to, you can choose any colours, make any form of shapes or pattern, completely up to you. But this is what I'm going to be doing, and I've ended up putting a lobster claw clasp on it. So if you want to learn how to make this, stay tuned. And these are the things that you're going to need. You'll need your cord. In this case I'm using some 2mm satin cord in a black colour. It doesn't have to be specifically this is just what I'm using for this project. I like for it to be just a little bit thicker so it can carry the beads, but also the reason I'm using satin cord in this, because it also needs to be flexible enough to be able to graduate in and out. And then obviously you need a scissor to cut your cord. And then I'm also using fishing line for this one. You don't need to use this, you can use any kind of thread, beading thread or anything, even something coloured if you want it to stand out. But I'm using some fishing line because I want it to be as invisible as possible, so my beads will stand out. And then you obviously need your beads. This is just an assortment of different colours. You can choose whatever colours you want to work with. This is just some crackled glass beads. And then some glue to help you finish off the piece. So get your things together and then let's get started. The first thing you want to do is cut a length of cord. Now there's no particular length for this, it's just you need it to be long enough to go around your wrist and add a bit extra, and then you can just double it over. Because obviously it needs to run down both sides of your bracelet. So I've not cut the middle of it yet, it's purely for easiness to keep it attached. So all you do is, if you're using a macrame board, which I will be in this case, you want to attach it to the top and then attach your bottom ends down to the bottom. And now because we're putting beads in between, I like to keep the cords a bit separate, so I put each of the ends in their own notch, basically like they are at the top, but where's this naturally happening. So that's your cords attached. Now what you want to do is get your fishing line out, if that's what you're using. If you're using something different, then get that out. I'm going to be using this fishing line, so I'm going to be cutting off quite a long length of this, because you want to be able to work with it continuously throughout the piece. You can't really add in that well. So just really, I'd say at least 1 metre to probably more like 2, as much as you can really bear to work with. So I've now cut off a long length of that. So the first thing I do is I have both my ends here, and then I want to get one bead out to begin with. In this case I'll take a green one, just because I think I'm going to be putting green ones in between all the graduations throughout. So feed it onto one end and then grab your ends again, and then take your bead down so it ends up roughly about the middle. And then keep hold of that and your thread, and then what I do is I take one side, one end of the thread, and I feed that underneath my cords that I attach to my board, underneath my satin cord. So grab hold of that, pull it all the way through, and then get your bead to sit. Just push it underneath one so it sits in between your two cords, like so. Now what you want to do is secure this bead in place. So to do that, the first thing I do is I start with one side. I take one end of my thread, so the one that's coming out my left side, I'll grab that end, and that thread is coming out underneath my satin cord. Now I'm going back through the bead but above the satin cord, so your thread will be looped around the satin cord, and then just pull it through all the way, like so. And then the same thing on the other side. Find the end of that, so that's now my right side, and the thread is still coming out underneath my satin cord. Go back through the bead above the satin cord, like so. Grab it and pull it through. And then you can tighten that. And as you go along with more threads and more beads, it will just stay tight. It won't right the first one because you haven't secured it to anything yet, but that bead is now on there safely. Now what I always like to do is, because this is the very first bead, I always like to take my thread through one more time just to double secure it really. And to do that, all I do is the end thread that I just pulled through is coming out above the satin cord, most likely anyway. That's where it kind of naturally tends to come out. I want to make sure that it's actually going underneath. So first thing I'm going to do is just feed it back through the middle of the cords and underneath this one, just to get it into position to go back through the bead again. And do the same thing on the other side. This is just to get them into position, like so. And now all I do is I grab the end again. Doesn't matter what side you start with. So you'll be doing the same thing on both sides anyway. And then put that back through the bead all the way. And the same thing with the thread on the other side. Like so. So you now attach your first bead, and you want to now be able to attach the next bead. You can either keep going with just one, or in my case I want to start graduating outwards now. So what I do to get my beads and my threads in position to add on the next bead is, again, if they're both coming out above your cords on each side, you want to, from the outside, go underneath and then up through the middle, like so, and then just pull it. So again, it loops around the cord, and the same with the other side. Feed it underneath the same side cord that your thread is on, and then pull it up through the middle. So both your cords are now coming up through the middle like this, because they're now ready for you to add your next beads on. And now, because I'm going to be graduating, obviously you can't do too much of a step. It would be kind of, it would not really work if you say add 3 or 4 beads on now. So what I'm going to do is add 2 beads to one cord, to one thread, sorry, like so. So I have 2 beads on one thread. Doesn't matter what side you start with. All you need to make sure of is you now get the other thread from the other side and go through your beads, but you want to go through the opposite way. So I have my end coming out from here, so that means I want to go back through that way with the other one. You want to go through both. You can do one at a time, or try and get through both if possible. If not, just do one at a time. And then grab the ends, and now you pull your threads tight, and your beads will fall and sit right here. And again, it won't be 100% tight yet because you'll be going through them again. To then secure these in place, I do the same thing as before. I grab my thread from one side, the one that's coming out here, and I want to just get them into position to go back through the bead. So I put it down through the middle and pull it out through the side. Same thing with the other one. Like so. And just pull them tight. And now it's time to get your threads back through your beads. So just do one side at a time. You now have your threads coming out from the beads below your satin cords. So you take the end of your thread and come back through your beads above the satin cord. And pull it, and then take the thread on the other side and go back through the opposite way. And pull that through. And then you grab both your threads, one on each side, and then pull it tight. And then nudge your beads into position if you need to. And they are now placed exactly where they need to go, like so. So again, now I just want to get my threads into position for the next row of beads. Again, if my threads are coming out above the satin cord, I want to take them around, loop it around your satin cord, and then pull it up through the middle. And then put it back to the same side again. Do the same thing with the other side. Like so. And again, you now have your threads coming up through the middle. Now it's time to add on the next row of beads. And then for this, because what I'm going to actually be making is like a flower. So what I'll do is, I'll put on an orange again, one of the same colour of them, and then I'll put on a yellow to get the center of the flower. And then an orange again for the other side of the flower. There. And then just do the same thing again. Grab the thread from the other side, get your tail through the opposite way, and then grab both ends, make sure you grab the ends, grab hold of them, and then pull your threads tight. So your beads fall and sit like so. So again, we now want to be able to come back through the beads. So I take my threads down through the middle and up out to the same side, both of them. So I can come back through the middle back through all the beads to secure this row in place. Do one side at a time. And sometimes it can be a little bit hard to get your thread to come through. If that's the case, just be patient with it. Maneuver the beads around a little bit, because sometimes the cord on the side can actually cover up the hole because it sits right on top of it basically. So if you need to, just do one bead at a time. Like so. That's one side through. Now grab the thread from the other side and then come back through the opposite way. Like so. And then pull them both tight. And again, you can maneuver them a little bit if you need to. So that's now that row. We now want to get ready to do the next row again. So you get your threads in position again. If they're coming out on top of your cord, take it around it, up through the middle, and pull through. Like so. You're now ready to put on your next row. Now because this is a flower, what I want to do now is graduate inwards again. And for this I want 2 orange beads. So I'll put 2 on. And grab the thread from the other side. Find the tail of it and put it through the opposite way of the beads. And then pull them, grab the ends and then pull them tight. And what you'll find now is this row will be a little bit tricky to get in right at first, but that's why don't worry too much about it on this row, because when we do the next one, that will help tighten that in place. So like we've done in the previous rows, we want to be able to go back through the beads, so we feed the thread down through the middle and pull it out on the side. Do the same thing with the other side. So we're now ready to go back through the beads. Do one side at a time. Like so. Take the other thread, go through the opposite way, on top of your satin cord. And then have your beads in place, and you can pull tight, and it will look something like that. Now what you'll find is that this row is still going to be a bit loose compared to your cord, but as you're going through with the next row, that will help tighten up. So what you need to do now is go in position to be able to make the next row. So your cords are coming out, your thread's coming out on top of the cords, so take it back underneath and pull it up through the middle. The same on both sides. Back underneath and up through the middle and out to the same side. And now, because this is going to be in between the flower, I want to add on another green one. And this is just a single bead again, like in the beginning. And get the end of your other thread and put that through the opposite way. And then pull your ends tight. And again, you then want to put your threads down through the middle and out to the same side they just were, so we can come back through this bead and secure it in place. Threads on both sides, and then Take one end at a time, put it through the bead, and pull through. Same thing with the other side. Grab the other end, put that through the bead and pull. And then push your bead up in place where you want it to sit, and then you can pull it tight. And now we can pop on our next bead. So you get one end of your thread, put on another green one, because you want to add another single one just to secure this previous one in place. Get the thread from the other side, find the end of it, put it through the opposite way, and grab hold of your ends and then pull it down. And then tighten that. So you've now attached this single bead, and what we need to do is just go through it again. So like we've done throughout, get your threads, put them down through the middle, and then pull it to the side. Same with the other one. Like so. And then one side at a time, find the end, and then put it back through your bead. So again, your thread is looping around your cord from underneath to on top of it and then through the bead. There. The same thing with the other thread, through the bead and pull the end. And then can pull that tight. And you can now see the graduation outwards and back inwards again. So now if you want to, you can add another flower, so start graduating outwards again. To do this, we'll get back into position, so grab one side, feed it underneath your cord, and then pull it up through the middle. Same thing with the other side, like so. And now you can add on your next two beads. The next flower I'm going to make is going to be blue. So I put on two blue beads on one thread, and then I grab the other thread from the other side, find the end of it, and then feed that through my two beads the opposite way. Like we've been doing the whole time. And then pull your threads tight and have your beads fall down so they lie like this. And again, we can now continue. Need to be able to go back through these beads to secure them in place. Same thing we've been doing the whole time. So put your threads down the center and then out to the side underneath your cord and just pull them tight. And then take one end, one side at a time, and then feed it back through your beads so your thread loops around the cords, in my case the satin cords. Like That's one side. And then this thread from the other side, feed it back through the opposite way. If you need to, do one bead at a time. Doesn't matter if they become loose like this, because you'll be tightening them up now by pulling your threads tight. So sit your beads into position and then pull your threads tight. And now they're in place. And all you do now is just continue like this. So you continue making a flower here, and you can make however many flowers that you want till you reach the length that you want your bracelet or whatever else you're making to be. So that's how you make a graduated wraparound bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.